1 year ago, we started a low-tech freshwater aquascape, and here is how we did it.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to take you through the story of our 10-gallon freshwater scape. It's filled with epiphytic plants and home to some amazing nano fish. It's low-tech without needing any super strong lights, any CO2, or a canister filter. You might not know this, but aquascaping was our gateway into this hobby. So whenever we make a freshwater aquascape, it's a very special project. We wanted this one to be super simple and super easy. So follow along and enjoy the ride.
We started out with our empty tank placed on our shelf. This is a rimless 10-gallon tank that measures roughly 20 by 12 by 10 inches. Rimless tanks are typically more expensive and less durable than tanks with rims, but we think it's worth it for the clean aesthetic.
First, we laid down a thin layer of our aquasoil. Aquasoil is an inert, nutrient-rich soil that's popular in freshwater aquascapes. It allows for some amazing plant growth and fertilizer far beyond what you could get with gravel or sand. If you're trying to do your very first planted tank, aquasoil is a must. The aquasoil and our other materials are listed and linked below in case you're curious.
We took a good long look at the tank and decided that we didn't love the look of the off-white walls with slats behind it showing through the tank. So we decided to add a background. We're going with black since we want this tank to feel like a dense and soothing underwater jungle. We find that white backgrounds evoke a more excited and less relaxed feeling in aquariums.
We're using Plastidip for our background. It's a spray-on rubber. Once applied, it can be easily peeled off later, so this is the perfect background for an aquarium like this one, which we might rescape in a year or two. We taped off the tank to prevent the Plastidip from splashing, then got to spraying. We do 3 to 4 thin coats, giving it at least 15 minutes to dry between each coat. Be careful not to apply too much or to let it run, or you'll end up with an uneven and lumpy background. Ah, much better.
Time for us to place our main piece of hardscape. This is a large piece of spiderwood. We placed it so that the base was along the right side with the roots headed left.
Then we placed rock to go along with our driftwood. For our rock, we're using Cereus stone. This is one of our favorites. It has a cool marbled appearance and takes on a dark gray and white tone underwater. We're trying to match our driftwood, so we're going to pile up the Cereus stone mainly on the right with the base of the wood. We want to make it look like an island that the wood is flowing over, similar to how the roots of a tree can grow over slabs of stone.
Using these layers of Cereus, we can also build up some height in the tank. We have a slope of aquasoil from front to back. This gives a greater illusion of depth. Piling up the Cereus stone will help stop the aquasoil from sliding.
We want the front of the tank to be sand, so we sprinkled a thin layer on top of the aquasoil in the foreground. Over time, animals and plants will blur this barrier a lot, but we can always sprinkle more sand to bring it back.
With our general hardscape in place, we can glue it in. We stuffed the small gaps between the pieces of hardscape with small bits of paper towel. You can also use cotton, toilet paper, etc. Then we dabbed liquid cyanoacrylate superglue, which is aquarium safe, on the paper towel. It absorbs it and quickly hardens, making a cement-like joint. We made sure to attach our wood to a few different pieces of stone so that it wouldn't float up.
Now that our hardscape is done, let's talk a bit more about why we structured it this way. With aquascapes like this, you want to think about focal points, or places where your eyes will naturally be drawn. If you overlay a grid over the tank, the focal points typically align with these areas according to something called the rule of thirds. You can put a lot of time and energy into the art behind your tanks, but we're going to keep it super basic here. To make a satisfying scape, you want the hardscape to draw your eyes naturally to 1 or 2 focal points, and there should be something going on there to try and capture your attention.
Here, if you see any of the little branches, your eyes will naturally follow them back to their source, which lines up loosely with the focal point over here. We'll have some epiphytes here to make it look really pretty.
At our other focal point, we'll do the opposite and leave it empty. This will contrast well with the busy sticks and plants, and it should look super cool with fish swimming around in this nice open empty area.
Okay, now it's time to plant. First, we saturate the soil with water, careful not to disturb it or our sand too much. This way, when we add water later, all our plants in the soil won't just float to the surface.
Let's talk plant selection. This tank is going to be low tech, meaning no CO2 and no high lighting. So we need aquatic plants that are hardy, low light, and not picky. To start, we're going in with some epiphytic plants. Instead of being buried in the soil, epiphytes grow latched onto things like wood with their roots in the water column. They filter nutrients from the water directly, and they're a great choice for preventing excess algae and removing excess nutrients.
We'll start with some Bucephalandra, which has these deep dark green serrated leaves. We positioned it all around our driftwood and rocks, especially in the foreground. Next up is another epiphyte, Anubias and Anubias nana Petite, which is just a smaller version of Anubias. Anubias has these lighter green round leaves. These can get much bigger than our Bus, so we put the Anubias more in the background to help fill in the back of our island. We're just wedging our epiphytes in the crevices for now, but you can also glue them in place. Both of these plants grow continuously from the rhizome and can be propagated by just cutting or snapping the rhizome in half.
For our carpet, we're using Dwarf Sagittaria Subulata. It's a grass-like aquatic plant whose leaves get 3 to 4 inches long. When planting, we just use our tweezers to stick it straight into the soil until the roots are fully buried. Like our epiphytes, it doesn't need high light or CO2. It grows by sending out runners which sprout into new plants.
With our tank planted, we're ready to fill it up with water. For filtration, we'll be using a hang-on-the-back filter from Haiger. If you're curious about it, you can check out our video unboxing and reviewing the filter. We also have a small heater in the back right corner since this is a tropical tank.
This tank was originally made as a home for puddles, our aging betta fish. It started as a blackwater tank, but puddles loved to eat shrimp and snails, and without a cleanup crew, we quickly realized that we had nothing to help eat the broken down leaves and botanicals that we were using as tannins. So, Puddles got to enjoy his epiphytic paradise without any tannins. Sadly, Puddles passed away this year, and for several months, the tank sat empty. We watched the plants grow in and recently decided that it was finally time to give it a makeover. We started by picking up the first of our inhabitants, some beautiful chili rasboras.
These are one of our absolute favorite nanofish. They're a shy shoaling species that is notable for being one of the smallest freshwater fish that you can keep. Even full-grown adults are less than an inch long. They're known for their bright red chili coloration. They aren't the most hardy fish, so they need a stable tank with good water parameters. We can fit up to 20 or more in this 10-gallon tank. We're just gonna do 10 to start though. We drip acclimated them for a few hours to get them gradually used to our water quality and then added them to our tank.
We let them settle in for a week, then turned our attention to fixing up the tank. The Bus and Anubias have grown considerably, and the Dwarf Sag has sent out runners all over the tank. We're going to move some plants around, reestablish the sand bed, and stock the tank with some more of our favorite little critters.
We used a razor scraper to clean off the glass. Again, all of our materials, including the ones we use for maintenance, will be linked below. In our experience, you really can't beat a razor scraper for getting algae off your glass. It's really easy and satisfying.
Next, we went in with some tweezers and a pair of scissors to separate some runners of the Dwarf Sag and move them to the background. We want to keep the foreground fairly clean and to have a dense carpeted background.
We used an old toothbrush to get the algae off the rocks and leaves. We'll also be adding a cleanup crew soon, so the algae shouldn't be able to come back quite this strong. We did a quick water change to get all the loose algae and detritus buildup out of the tank. Then added some sand to the front to reestablish our sandy foreground. It was a bit dusty, but cleared up in no time.
We also added a couple floating plants. This is Salvinia Minima. Floating plants work the absolute hardest at sucking excess nutrients out of the water column, so this should help cut down on our algae problems.
And finally, it's time for some cleanup crew. We added yellow neocardinia shrimp, ghost shrimp, and a big fat mystery snail. These will all work together to eat excess nutrients and keep the algae under control, while producing virtually zero bioload.
The dense grass and epiphytes will provide a great place for the shrimp's babies to grow up safely. And if we ever want to make it a blackwater tank again, we'll have cleanup crew to break down all that decaying plant matter.
Okay, so without further ado, here is our small, low-tech aquascape.
love how it turned out. It is super relaxing to stare at while we work and very low maintenance. The yellow shrimp provide such bright pops of color along our foliage, and the ghost shrimp are practically invisible against the cerulean stone.
The rasboras spread out exploring the tank, but they clump up pretty quickly whenever we come near.
What do you guys think of our tank? Should we make it a blackwater again? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video.
Subscribe for tank updates and more builds like this one. See you in the next one.
Bye.